செந்தில் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாமா? ஓகே, இல்லை சார் ரெடியாக இருக்காரா? சுரேஷ் சார்
ரெடியா இருக்கேன் சார். நீங்க சொன்னீங்கன்னா ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடலாம்.
Very good morning to all the members. First of all, I especially thanks to our Annamalai University IR authorities and the Ministry of Environment, Forest, and our Vice Chancellor and Registrar, and our NVS team. Today, that all the members well known that World Environment Day. So that's only we are celebrated that Ministry of Environment, Forest, our NVS Center also organized one of the program that World Environment Day celebration. So the World Environment Day, all the members, you know, today what is the condition of our environment? What is the challenges? What is the future of our environment? Nowadays, all the members well known that pollution, everywhere pollution, how to control the pollution and how to protect our environment. So that is also very, very important. So that's only we are also considering this particular day, not only India, all the countries, all the world, throughout the world, that the awareness creating that local people and the education institution and all other members. That's only we are also created that particular day, the World Environment Day. Today also some of the institutions also the cycle rally and reduce the pollution sources, reduce the vehicles. So that's only we are also considering this particular aspect. So that's only we are also that World Environment Day celebration in our center, Ministry of Environment and Forest. So today, in this aspect, today we also organized that that Dr. Sureshkumar, our faculty member, the assistant professor, he is specialized in that environmental science. So today talk that particular aspect of World Environment Day. So he has already completed MSc in environmental science and MPhil biotechnology, and one more credit also MBA marketing management, and after that completed PhD degree in environmental science. So he has credited that Department of Science and Technology project, SIR project completed, and another one project, mega project, UGC major project completed. At present, more than 5 members already doing PhD, 2 members already awarded. So one more credit also the member of the Society of Environmental Sustainable Development, and another one member TNSF, and another one member Society of Chemical Industry and award received from DST ECR Early Career Researcher Award. So already he also completed more than that delivery lecture, guest lecture, 15 guest lecture, and paper presentation more than 20, and published in 22 paper international and national related to all the aspect, mainly environmental issues, environmental publication. So he is very much very enthusiastic person and active member. He has also activated and participated in that all environmental issues and all other activities of our center. I congratulate Dr. Sureshkumar. Please present your today presentation. I welcome to Dr. Sureshkumar. Welcome.
Thank you very much for your warm introduction, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
So my slide is visible now, sir?
Yeah, yes.
Visible, sir.
Okay. Esteemed Dean, CIs in Marine Biology and NVIS RP Coordinator, Professor Dr. P. Anandaraman, sir. Respected Director, CIs in Marine Biology, Professor Dr. M. Kalaiselvam, sir. Respected colleagues, most enthusiastic environmentalists, and most beloved student friends. Good morning to all. Today, I'm very happy to be here to discuss environmental ethics on the eve of Environmental Day 2022. Before discussing on the topic, we will see what is environment and why we need environmental ethics, in which basis this environmental ethics will serve us to keep our earth sustains. So, our environment is very simple. The living and non-living things that surround a living thing make up its environment. Environment defined under the Environmental Protection Act 1986. Environment includes water, air, and land, and the interrelationship which exists among and between water, air, land, and human beings, other living creatures, plants, microorganisms, and property. So immediately we will think about ecosystem. Ecosystem is in any unit that includes all of the organisms in a given area interacting with the physical environment, so that a flow of energy leads to exchange of materials between living and non-living parts of the system. The ecosystem is the basic functional unit of organism and their environment interacting with each other. The function of ecosystem is related to the energy flow, decomposition, nutrient cycling, and major biomes. So this ecosystem can be divided as abiotic components and biotic components. Abiotics are nothing but non-living components. Here, climatic and edaphic factors which are influencing highly in the ecosystem. And so here, climatic system basically rain, light, wind, temperature. These things are influencing here in this climatic ecosystem. So here, next thing, edaphic. Edaphic is nothing but a soil and soil-oriented ecosystem. Here, soil, pH, minerals, the topography of that particular land, they will influence highly in this edaphic factor. So next to that, biotic components are here. We can classify that biotic components into three major ways. Here, producers, consumers, decomposers. So producers are nothing but which can synthesize their own food by themselves. So whichever is containing colors as well as photosynthetic elements which facilitate to produce their own food. That is chlorophyll, like that pigments. Okay, which are facilitating that organism to produce their own food by themselves. And consumers are there nothing but they are dependent to the producers, and they eat the producers, and they will sustain. So next to that, decomposers are here. Decomposers are, whichever falls on the earth as a dead material, which will be eaten by these decomposers as saprotrophs. Here, this again, this can be classified that a consumer can be classified as primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumer, quaternary consumers. So each and every element of the ecosystem are having some ecological role. So we can say ecological needs. So we don't know which organism for what purpose it created, but we simply exploits. But here, because of this ecosystem, we have plenty of services. It regulates air quality, climate, water runoff or erosion, natural hazards, pollinations, and it is also supporting in the way of nutrient cycling, water cycling, the soil formation, photosynthesis, and cultural aspects also. It provides a lot of services of like ethical values, existence values, recreation and ecotourism, and provisioning aspects of food, fiber, biomass, fuel, fresh water, and natural medicines. So all these services are from this ecosystem. A proverb, that is the quote, famous quote, everyone might be knowing that survival of the fittest. And this was first published in 1869 in the book of On the Origin of Species by British naturalist Charles Darwin. So based on this, whichever is fit as well as can adapt to the particular environment, can sustain, it can establish their population, through that they can sustain in the earth. So here, based on the Maslow's need-based hierarchy, starting from physiological needs to self-actualization, that is, these needs can be classified into three ways. That is basic needs, psychological needs, and self-fulfillment needs. All these needs requires a certain level of ecological exploitation as well as support. Without them, we cannot get even these basic needs, as all aware. So basic needs are nothing but food, clothing, shelter, these things. Okay. So psychological needs also, we need some recreations like that. These things also supported well with this ecosystem. And the self-fulfillment needs, whatever we buy, even that may be a great resource, like whatever you're obtaining as a self-fulfillment needs, that will be taken from this earth. So we are at a certain level exploiting that resource. So based on this, whenever the need of a human increased, the problem also increased, because we are transforming one material to another material. Nothing was derived from out of risk. Everything inherent with a certain risk. So that because of these things, we have a list of issues. Some of their depletion of natural resources, water pollution, air pollution, groundwater pollution, toxic chemicals and soil pollution, through that ozone layer depletions, global warming, sea level rise, loss of biodiversity, extinction of wildlife, and loss of natural habitat, and nuclear waste and radiation issues. Likewise, we can list so many things under this category, all because of our establishments of needs. So, might be knowing causes for resource depletions. Previously, we thought, very little resources only we exploit because of the economic conditions. So now, when the economic conditions increase, everyone wanted to access all the facilities. Previously, when if you see 20-30 years before, you can easily count the two-wheelers, motorcycles. in a street as well as in the whole region, whole area, whole place, 1 or 2 or maximum of 10 motorcycles you can see. But nowadays, per house as well as per head, we are accessing 1 or 2 motorcycles. So through that, we are exploiting maximum amount of fuels and other mined resources like steel, other metals, precious metals, everything. So here overfishing also. Our ancestors used to take fish as well as mutton or hot chicken or whatever it may be per monthly once as well as yearly twice or thrice. But nowadays it becomes more frequent, and whenever we want, we are taking these things, and we are exploiting. More. We are eating more quantity of fish. Through that, more number of fishes are. Overfishing. That results leads to overfishing. So we exploit timber. We are spending high energy. We are using a maximum of other resources too. Through that, the resources are depleting very fast way. So because of these reasons, one particular action associated with some other actions. Nothing will be given free of cost. So each and everything has some inherent effect. Like once, if we start using some material, it inherent with some kind of pollutions. Through that, when we start buying a lot of materials, ultimately the land pollutions are like a solid waste dumping increased, and water pollutions. Whatever we use immediately, we are mixing with water. We are using plenty of pesticide for the maximum production of food to meet out all their needs, and noise pollution because of industries and overpopulations. We are extensively having this noise pollution problem, and air pollutions. All industrial activities uses that of fossil fuels. Through that, a lot of carbon dioxides and other noxious gases, greenhouse gases, are released to the environment. So it is one of the famous quotes: "Don't drink water in underdeveloped countries. Don't breathe air in the developed countries." So if you see the underdeveloped countries, they mostly exploit the water facilities because it is one of the cheapest source. So that immediately they will spoil that. If you just imagine, start counting the numbers of tanneries as well as whatever the industries which requires more water. Water-intensive industries are located in the underdeveloped countries, so that we cannot drink the water in the underdeveloped countries without purifications of that water. But if you go to the well-developed countries, they use plenty of fossil fuels because of their buying ability. So that their air become much more higher, concentrated of noxious gases, so that we cannot breathe this air in the developed countries. For example, China as well as US, city as well as Japan. If we go, you will definitely use mask, as well as even Delhi. In January or February that month, we cannot inhale that gases. That much pollutions are coming. So this ultimately leads to ozone depletions. Ozone in the Dobson unit of that thickness, some studies says it is shrinking, but still that thickness has reducing certain level, so that we have to concentrate on that ozone depletions too, because of our industrial activities. So much of gases, chlorine-based materials are released to the atmosphere, which will react with the ozone, and it is transferring that chemical to another chemical, that is oxygen radicals, so that plenty of area in the Antarctic regions were exposed for UV. So that ozone depletion is one of the major concerns today. Next to that, because of over emissions of greenhouse gases, the climate has changed. So every year that climate is changing, the temperature is increasing, and the World Health Organization calls climate change the greatest threat to global health in the 21st century. And the average temperature, if you see, in the year 1850, it was very lower. It started increasing, frequently, and now nearly 1 degree Celsius has increased. This is the data predicted by NASA, HATCRET, NOAA, these are famous meteorological research units. And ultimately, if the global climate change, this temperature has increased, this temperature will trigger the ice that will, ice to make melting. Even geological period, ice materials also started melting, and because of this, the sea level is steeply increasing. In the near 2020, it was estimated as 200 millimeter has increased. So the lower region, are having more risk in this thing. So here the IPCC says we can expect the oceans to rise between 11 and 38 inches by 2100, enough to swamp many of the cities along the US East Coast. More dire estimates, including a complete meltdown of Greenland ice sheets, place sea level rise to 23 feet, enough to submerge London. So you just imagine that is the condition existing now. If we prolong the same condition, definitely we will lose. We have to expect a lot of problems. So in India, by 2040, Mumbai sea level will rise about 0.12 meter compared to 0.4 meter in 2020. So at Hiran Point in Sundarbans, sea level will rise to 0.7 meter compared to 0.6 meter in 2020. Chennai will see 0.10 meter rise compared to 0.3 meter in 2020. Cochin will likely to see a sea level rise of 0.15 meter compared to 0.6 meter. And likewise, all the coastal cities are experiencing the same problems. So, next to that, because of this climate change and this much threats, biodiversity also, we are losing that biodiversity too. So, a threat of extinctions are 1 out of 8 birds, 1 out of 4 mammals, and 1 out of 4 conifers, 1 out of 3 amphibians, 6 out of 7 marine turtles are under risk. 75% of genetic diversity of agricultural crops has been lost. 75% of the world's fisheries are fully or overexploited. Up to 70% of the world's known species risk extinction if the global temperature rises by more than 3.5 degrees Celsius. So 1/3 of reef building corals around the world are threatened with the extinction. Near to that 2% of organisms under endangered, and critically 1%, and near threatened 4%. Okay. Likewise, the loss is increasing in the biodiversity segments. India, like countries, are enjoying with the biodiversity. Even in our plate, in our dining, so many species we are eating. So if you take vegetables, there are hundreds of vegetables we have. If you go for non-veg, there are so many species available. But in future, these things will available in our plate or no? That will be in the hand of us. Because rapidly we are damaging and destructing the mother here. So it leads loss of biodiversity. So loss of biodiversity ultimately reduce the services too. So what is the solution for these issues? If you think so many things can be do for this the environmental problems. So here one of the way it is major concern is nothing but environmental ethics. Environmental ethics means that is morality as well as doing good. That is what um, ethics. So wherever we follow ethics, that place will become, enjoyable. Here, if we want to enjoy our mother care, so definitely we have to follow that ethics. So the word again. Commonly used interchangeably with morality, and sometimes it is used more narrowly to mean the moral principles of a particular traditions. So environmental ethics is an established field of practical philosophy which reconstructs the essential types of argumentation that can be made for protecting natural entities and the sustainable use of natural resources. Moreover, ethics is a part of philosophy and guide us to follow a righteous path which is in the larger interest of the society as a whole. Environmental ethics is related to environmental philosophy, and defines what is right and wrong at ecological level. It is more a moral binding than legal compulsions. Practicing environmental ethics is therefore left to an individual. The outcome of such practices is always par excellence since it comes from voluntarily and hence with dedications. Educating today's youth thus becomes more significant in order to achieve expected outcome. The religious schools of thoughts was the first philosophical ground to advocate environmental ethics. Every religion has strongly asked its followers to respect rivers, animals, and the ecology nearby. It is also raised some challenges while deciding the environmental ethics in contemporary situations. Disparity among society, nations, and regions, basic right to procure the resources of daily livelihood, right to access to resources, etc. Were the key challenges in designing environmental ethics. And this had led to different views on environmental ethics. Here, a great scholar of Alan Marshall, he gave that as ethical things as different aspects, like libertarian extension. Is my slides visible? Excuse me.
Yes, visible, sir. Now, environmental decision.
Okay. It's not moving here. So here, a libertarian extension, the ecological extension, and conservation ethics. So likewise, the scholar has divided that aspects, ethics. So libertarian view, this view is correlated to the principle to civil liberty. Excuse me. So libertarian extension, this is very important view of that scholar, and it is nothing but civil liberty follows the commitment to equal rights to every member of community, as well as development of ethics to deal with the man's relationship with the land, animal, and a plant is absolutely essential. Social conscious from people to land and nature is equally inevitable. It is not right to see the natural world simply in the terms its economic worth to human. Equal rights are liberty to all human and non-human members in the environment is the principal doctrine of libertarian view. So each and every component of this environment, that ecosystem has equal rights to exist. That is the understanding of this libertarian view. So next to that ecological view, here it demonstrates ecological functioning on ethical ground. It is believed that Earth has its own mechanism for functioning, growth, and development. Nature has its own purification process and recovery systems of life, even in most adverse conditions. So moreover, it is believed that whenever the climatic change had taken place, it took place within a very short durations to adjust other organisms to organism with the existing conditions. So that, for example, if any critical conditions occurs in this ecosystem, since at the initial state, it will affect more abundantly, like COVID. Afterwards, people start adapting with the conditions so that the adaptation will occur, and intensively that process will be matched, as well as that defects will be reduced. So that in this aspects, that is known as ecological extension. Next thing is conservation ethic. It is to conserve of the conservation of the nature. So we have to conserve the nature. Without a human, we cannot conserve the nature. That aspects of this philosophy originated. And next thing is humanist theories. Here, preservation of heritage site is biggest for future generations. So whatever the historical places existing now, that should be maintained, that should be kept for our future children. Whatever we enjoyed in village, people used to say, likewise they used to say, but our ancestors looked water everywhere, clean water. When I was a child, in my school age, we used to play in a river. Even whenever we used to go for a river for playing, we used to take that water as it is for drinking purpose. Without any treatment, we drank that water. But now, is it possible? No, not at all. It is not possible. Even we cannot allow our children to play in the water regions because instead of water, and there are so many waste materials, drainage only coming. So it is very difficult to, cope up the conditions. So here, next thing is applied theology. So every religion has initiated as well as worshipped the nature. It may be Christianity as well as other Mughals, as well as any Hindu. Especially Hindu religions mostly depends on this nature bound. Wherever we go to the temple, we used to pray the Tala Vriksha. So particularly we will nurture one particular tree for that particular temple. Likewise, we used to conserve that nature. So that is the beauty of this theory. And the normative ethical theories are here. Normative ethics is a field in moral philosophy that investigates how one ought to act, what is morally right and wrong, and how moral standards are determined superficially. This approach may seem intrinsically anthropocentric, Anthropocentric is nothing but human-centric. Here, everything is made for us. Everything is for us, that aspects. However, theoretical frameworks from traditional normative ethical theories are abundant within contemporary environmental ethics. So, consequentialism. Consequentialist theories are focused on the consequences of actions. So each and every action has its own feedbacks. Based on this, whatever we do, that Earth will return back. So that aspects of this theory emerged. And deontology. Deontological theories state that an action should be based on duties or obligations to what is right instead of what is good. In strong contrast to consequentialism, this view argues for principles of duty based not on a functions of value, but on reasons that stand beyond the consequences. Whatever the thing, whatever we do, what is the consequences of that duty that will be considered here. That damage, everything will be focused here, which basis that ethics are originated. So virtue ethics is nothing but states about behaviors should be cultivated and others avoided. This framework avoids problems of defining what is of intrinsic value by instead arguing that what is important is to act in accordance with the correct balance of virtue. So the golden mean formations, for example, states that to be generous, one should neither be miserly or extravagant, unlike deontology and consequentialism. Theories of virtues focus their formulations on how the individual has to act to live a flourishing life. This presents subjective flexibility, which seems like an adequate position to hold, considering the fluctuating demands of sustainability. However, as a consequences, it can also be said that this is an inherently anthropocentric standpoint. So anthropocentrism is the position that humans are the most important or critical elements in any given situations, that the human race must always be its own primary concern. Now, based on that, whatever we need, we want, that can be exploited. Next to that, relationship with animal ethics, here, truth centricism as well as right-oriented environmental ethics. This is also known as, because it says about how to show the morality on the animals and other kind of things. Here, the theory of truth centrism in environmental ethics is a new theory that discusses the human needs and the protection of life and nature. This theory holds that all beings have a right in the system of existence. So the attitude and the consequences of human morality and behavior with their environment and other beings must be oriented according to the type of proportion of the right position of each of them and the position of human himself. Numerous theories have been proposed in the field of environmental ethics. However, each has its shortcomings and has provoked much criticism about itself. So, how to be ethical? Here we discussed so many ethics here, starting from a libertarian to this truth, that is truth centrism. Here everything is trying to explain about how to be with environment as an unit. Human is an unit in the center of, in the ecosystem. How we are given opportunity to exist. Similarly, the other things also given opportunity to exist. So that we have to respect. In this way, how to be ethical, we will see. First thing, as an individual, we can follow these small things like reduce, reuse, and recycle. Usually, we used to say triple R. not triple R that moving. Here, triple R is nothing but reduce, reuse, and recycle. Whenever we want of thinking any materials, we have to start thinking of whether is it required or not. Suppose if our need forced us to purchase that material, we have to follow that. I mean, we have to use that again and again. We have to reuse that material. Suppose we want to discard that material, we try to recycle that material. Now, one of my friend used to say, whenever the Diwali, the Happy Diwali comes, the neighbor people used to count how much of waste material in front of our house. See, that much pathetic. So if the crackers papers are huge, they used to think they used much their reach likewise. So based on the waste generations, we may be considered as rich or poor. So generally, these things are correct, yes or not. You just refer that environmental ethics, we could understand these things are wrong concepts. Okay, then next to that triple R, we have to follow this education. So whenever we are planning for a future, we have to educate the people. For example, there's a famous author, Confucius. He used to say, if your plan is for a year, plant rice. If your plan is for 100 or 10 years, plant trees. If your plan is for 100 years, educate children. When only the development will be sustained. So that we must educate to our young minds. So next to that, conserve water. So whenever we are using water, we have to use the optimum quantity. So if we minimize the usage of water, the quality, hygienic will be missed. So since we are living with a lot of diseases and a lot of problems, we must maintain the hygienic things also. That is what I'm here. We have to use the righteous quantity of water to maintain our cleanliness. Shop wisely. So here, whenever we used to go for shop, whatever in the supermarket, you can imagine plenty of things are. Yes. Plenty of things are there in the racks. Whatever we look, we cannot buy. We need not buy them because their marketer aim is to make us to buy the material. But we have to shop wisely, whether is it required or not. So based on our requirement, we can purchase. Whenever we used to go for shopping, we have to go with reusable bags. Whether it may be any material, but if it is reusable and properly, if we manage them, starting from usage to throwing out, making it as solid waste, if we maintain properly, that will be not a problem. So that usage is very much important here. So use long-lasting light bulbs. Whenever here short life bulbs or anything will consume more, as well as it will be not efficient. So that if you use long-term or long durable materials, that will be ethical to this environment. So most probably we have to plant a tree. They are the lungs of this earth. So if we want to refine as well as treat as well as purify the air, it is the only one solution. The carbon dioxide will be sequestrated in the trees, in the part of trees, and it will give pure air to us. So that if we want to refine our air, we must plant trees. So nowadays, Miyawaki forest, they also in the usage. So many countries adopted that strategy. So in the short, a very narrow as well as a small area, we can, we can plant more trees and we can make Miyawaki forest. So that this also termed as urban forestry. This kind of things, techniques, and new things can be followed to maintain our earth. And next to that, don't send chemicals into our waterways. See, for example, any research institute as well as education institutes, they're using plenty of chemicals, knowingly or unknowingly. Once we understand the impact, the problem of chemical, we must check the usage of the chemicals, whether we have to use the chemical or no. If unnecessarily we need not, mix the chemical into the nature, we need not pollute in the earth. So most probably, use public transport. So for single person, if you burn, fossil fuels, that will be again is not unethical. So if you're more, many people are traveling, means you can use your own vehicle. There is no problem at all. But for a single person, using a big vehicle is unethical. It shows our richness, but we are using others' material. The earth is common to everyone. We should not forget that ethical philosophy. Finally, we can conclude like this by using a great philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi. Earth provides enough to satisfy our man's needs, but not every man's greed. So for our survival, whatever are the basic things required, everything is given in the nature. So we have to use the correct level of things for enjoying this world, and not greeding, not over exploiting, so that we must reduce our greediness. So we have only one earth for our survival. Few rich persons, if the earth collapsed, they can go anywhere, as well as other planet. But see, even if we want to travel one place to another place, we have to look at the budget. So in this condition, how can we travel to other planet? It is not possible. So we have only one earth. We have to keep the earth safely. So as a chief settled word, we do not inherit the earth from our parents. We borrow it from our children. So we have to give this earth as it is to our younger people, our forthcoming generations. So that is our duty. So finally, I will completing this session with think globally and act locally, because most of the issues are starting from the local problems. Okay, here if we want to reduce the greenhouse gas, nothing. Some aliens will come and reduce. It is not possible. We have to reduce our emissions. We have to reduce our fossil. If we want to keep our lands, we have to reduce our solid waste. So that from individual aspects, from the individuals, we have to go for the global levels. All the local problems are reaching to the, all the local problems increasing the global intensity as well as making big problems. It will make one side collapse. So that everyone, we should think globally and act locally. Thank you all for patience listening.
Dr. Sureshkumar, very nice presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Excellent talk on that World Environment Day. You told that reduce, reuse, and recycle. This is the Taraka mantra of environment. At the time only reduce the pollution sources. Okay,
Yes.
reduce, reuse, and recycle. This is the three mantras. Because Earth one is only the planet only living all the organisms. Other planet don't live with that any other organisms. So we protect our Earth. This is that mother. Our Earth is one of the mother. So all the member protect our Earth also. If you want any questions, please ask to Dr. Sureshkumar. Lenin, you at last you give the vote of thanks.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
If you want any clarification, please ask to Dr. Sureshkumar. Sendil, please kindly send the feedback form. Any questions? Stop. Any question? Anybody given the questions in the chat box? Okay. Any questions? Yeah. All the participants, please kindly fill up your feedback form. Okay. Now, Lenin, please give what of them.
Yes, sir. Right, sir.
Sendil, if you want to talk anything. Dr. Lenin, please give what of them.
Yes, sir. Most respected dignitaries of program, participants, scholars, and students. Good morning, all of you. It's a give me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of NV centers on my own. We thank our Vice Chancellor and Registrar Annamalai University supporting and encouragement for the program. We thank Professor Dr. and Dean and NEC coordinator Anandaraman sir for the more support for conducting so many programs. Thank you very much, sir. We thank uh, Dr. P. Sureshkumar sir, assistant professor and chief guest of this day, Environmental Day, and presenting environmental ethics and environmental act, environmental services and environmental issues on global level, pollutions and ocean depletion, climate change, and sea level rising and biodiversity loss, and what is the ethics to uh, control for the pollution and how to protect the environment. Thank you very much, sir, for the wonderful, nice presentation. We thank our Ministry of Environmental Forest and Climate Change, and we thank our various institutions and participation for this program. We thank our all the NVC faculty members. We thank and all the NVC staff members and all of you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh Kumar, environmental scientist. Thank you, very nice, excellent talk. Today, World Environment Day. Okay, thank you, very nice information. Thank you, thank you. Suresh sir, unmute.
Thank you very much, sir, for patient listening, sir. First, I'd like to thank our Annamalai University authorities for giving me this wonderful opportunity, share my view, and yes, I mean our esteemed Professor Anandaraman sir for your support as well as your encouragement to present this lecture, and I thank NVSRP team members, Lenin to Subramanian, everyone, each and everyone, their support as well as their making this event successful. And I thank all the participants present here for your patient listening. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Once again, thank you very much for Dr. Lenin, Mr. Chendil, Mr. Nagaraj, Mr. Subramanian, Mrs. Vijayalakshmi, all the members of the Environmental Information System. Once again, thank you very much, all the members. So today we also celebrate the World Environment Day. The reduce the
Yes, sir.
Single. Now one. Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.